Q4d is the final transformation I asked you to graph. What I'm going to do is come through here and first recognize the parent function. We have that y equals 2 times the absolute value. So as soon as I read absolute value, I know that my parent function is the absolute value of x, which is a V-shaped. So we're going to be transforming this V-shaped graph by performing 3 different operations on it. So now I'm going to write my description so I know what's going to happen to my graph. So here's the first thing I'm going to recognize. Number 1, work inside your grouping symbols. I pointed out in the last one, trying to emphasize your order of operations. The first thing you'd have to do is you'd have to go inside of these grouping symbols, and since it's inside grouping symbols, it'll affect your graph horizontally. So we know we have some type of horizontal transformation, and since it's addition subtraction, it'll be a translation. Translations are always addition subtraction. Dilations are always multiplication division. But we have a horizontal translation. Since it says -2, it's going to move it right 2 units. So keep in mind, horizontals are always counterintuitive. It says -2 goes right 2. The next thing that would be performed is not inside our grouping symbols. It'll be our multiplication of 2. Since it's on the outside of that grouping symbol, it will have to be a vertical impact or change in your graph. So this is a vertical, and since it's multiplication, it's a vertical dilation. And it's a dilation of 2, so what we're going to do is that we're going to stretch or expand our graph by a factor of 2. So it's going to be 2 times narrower. We're going to stretch that thing. And then the last thing that we have is another outside grouping symbol. So this is a vertical. And this time, since it's addition subtraction, it's a translation. And it will move our graph 1 unit down. So this is down 1 unit. Okay, so let's go back and let's track some of our ordered pairs. Our function, parent function of y equals the absolute value of x. So our original ordered pairs for our parent function for x and y, put a -2, you get a 2, put a -1, you get a 1, put in a 0, you get a 0, 1 is a 1, 2 is a 2. Now go through and perform your transformations. The first transformation that we do on order of operations, how I listed them, number 1 is a horizontal translation, right 2. So because it's right 2, it's only going to impact the x values, and right is add 2 to all these. So -2 plus 2 is 0, -2 plus 1 is 1, -2 plus 0 is 2, and then adding 2 onto the 1 is a 3, and 2 onto 2 is a 4. So we just took care of this horizontal translation instead of ordered pairs. The next thing is a vertical dilation, and vertical is another way of saying your y, so it's only going to impact your y values. So now I'm going to look at the y values, and we're going to stretch them by a factor of 2, which means you're going to multiply every one of these times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. So now I just took care of this vertical stretch. Then we have a vertical dilation or translation down 1 unit. So I'm going to do one more T-chart here. Since it's vertical, it won't have any impact on your y's. What we want to do is we want to now change our x or our y values. Down 1 means subtract 1 from all of your y values. So instead of a 4, it's going to be a 3. Instead of a 2, it's going to be a 1. Instead of a 0, it's a -1. Instead of a 2, it's a 1. Instead of a 4, it's a 3. And these are the order pairs that we're going to graph for our final resting place in our graph. All right, so 0, 3. 0, 3 is here. 1, 1. 2, -1. 3, 1. And 4, 3. I didn't graph 3, 1. That's why I'm having a hard time at that point. 3, 1. They should line up in a straight line. There's your final spot for your absolute value under all those transformations.